Hello and welcome to another episode of Monkey Builds here on the Jenny Kirk channel. I'm Zoe Kirk Robinson and today we're talking about the Metcalfe Castles range of kits.
Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support comes from Rails of Sheffield. Sell to the name you know and trust. Buy, sell or exchange any age or any gauge. Call them now for the very best price. Check them out today at the link below.
A couple of years ago now, Metcalfe started releasing a range of things called castles, and it was in a variety of boxes, some big, some small. Some of them are around 10 quid, some of them around 20, depending on complexity, size and things like that. Curtain walls, which are great. The gatehouse, which is complex and still great. Castle wall bridge, which is really good. The castle hall, and finally a watchtower. Now these are all pretty good and I've put them all together. We're going to talk to you about all of them. First up, one of the smaller ones, the castle wall tower. There is a further one and it's just sheets of the textured paper, which I would talk to you about, but I have to admit I didn't open it. I've got it because I wanted to look at the entire range and make sure that I had everything if I needed it, but it turned out unless you're placing a flooring into your castle, you don't actually need it. But it is useful to have around in case you damage something, you want to replace a bit of walling, you want to retexture something else, things like that. Worth having if you're going to go down the modding side of things, but otherwise, unless you want to put flooring in, you probably don't need it. We're going to start out with the watchtower. This is one of the cheaper ones, about £7.50. You can probably find it for around that. I wouldn't expect you to pay more than £10 for it, let's put it that way. So, watchtower, thin, not too bad, looks not too complex. But when you put it together, it takes you about, I would say, each of these parts would take an evening if you're going slow and being careful. The watchtower probably only a couple of hours. Now, listen to this. Does that sound like a cardboard kit? Not to me. These things are incredibly solid. The outer side here with the textured look to it, that is one separate sheet. The inside is a separate sheet of card, thick card, to give it a proper feel of solidity, basically. And then the paper is over the top. It's a great way of doing things. Metcalfe are great with this. They'll have your structural part and then the texture on the outside, which is wonderful. The doors are a separate thing again. So you've got the wall here, and then you'd add an extra piece of card for the door frame with the door on it, so it can be opened. Similar thing with the windows. There's a piece of laser cut card in there with the textured and coloured piece of plastic on the back. So it's several layers and it built up and built up. Similarly, they give you options. Now, this was a surprise to me. Got the doors here. But you could swap a door out for a window as if this has been modified later on. So you have the door and then you have the window frame. Then you have the window base and then the piece of textured plastic with the glass. So it really does feel like it goes in and in and in. It has so much depth to it. I was amazed when I made this. Probably took me, like I say, a couple of hours of steady going, and it works out well. My only real concern with this one is that crack down the back. Do you see it? That's where the card comes together on the outside. It wraps around and then while you're gluing it, and then sets together like that. Why? Metcalfe, guys, why? Why not put it on the corner so that it fits together and doesn't look too bad? Because then you just have a slightly untextured corner which you could cover up. That's how I did it, because that does kind of stand out. When you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the problem. Very good base at the top. Now, all of these, that's separate floor. There's a separate floor inside as well, and a separate one at the base. So there are 3 floors. That door is sat just above a floor. There is an extra piece in there, so that if you open the door, you can see that there is floor. which is great. I haven't put a texture on. I could have used some of the texture from that kit that I haven't used, but I didn't, because you're not going to see it the way I'm planning to see it, to do it. But you could put a textured floor in, just like this one on the top, and that would actually be pretty good. I would think that would work. I could have also put lights in. I probably still could. I mean, I could drill through the bottom and make space to put a light in, but it's a good idea to plan ahead if you want to do that. That would be an extra bit of effort, of course. And then I want to say the last bit. These on the top. When you're building this, expect to get your hands filthy. This is a separate piece of laser cut card. It's got a very dark colour to it, and that comes off in your hands when you're gluing. It means that you can't see all the layers of card that are built up to make the top quite thick, and well, in fact the entire structure quite thick. There's several pieces. So it covers them up nicely and makes it look great. I am really impressed. For like £7 odd, less than £10 for this solid piece of kit. Got a good base, you can stand it wherever you want, and it's great. I am definitely thinking we got value for money on that one. So what's next? Well, I want to talk to you about the other one that is a bit, well, has multiple uses, but would otherwise probably be overlooked by a lot of people. It's essentially a variant on the railway walls that you see a lot of. Jen uses a lot of them on VAR, for example. The curtain wall type things. It's the castle curtain walls. Standard thing, you'd think. Can't be much to that, surely. Well, I'll show you how many you get in it. 1, 2, and they're interesting shapes. 3, another interesting shape. A small one, but very nice. 7. You get 7 pieces of wall. It's not enough to do an entire castle. If you're trying to get round the entire battlements of a castle, it's not enough. Your Metcalfe do say on the back of each of these kits that it'll take 2 sets of castle walls and 2 watchtowers to complete a run round if you're trying to just make an entire castle. If you're trying to put it into a town or scene or anything like that, you won't need that. So I like the way they've done that. But again, like the watchtower, these are solid. Every single one of them. Except for this long one, which has a hole in the middle. But to be honest with you, you won't notice it because I just forgot until I was looking at it just there. Some of them are in funny shapes. They go around corners. There's an interesting one, and then we've got a 90-degree angle one as well, so you get a range of different things. Again, a couple of hours to put these together, had a lot of fun doing it, and I just put the TV on, watched TV while I was making these, and made a really good job of it. But here, you get the idea of how many things are in this. There are 4 layers to make that side, and 4 layers to make that side at the top, and then you get this big solid piece in the middle, and then a layer on each side. It's really well thought out. I'm very pleased with these. Can you tell? So, what next with all of these? Well, let's talk about these ones. They look like castle walls, but they're not, because they come with something else. It's the gatehouse. This is a big one. Now, this took all night. So, if you're doing it in little bits, instead of me where I ploughed through and it was like 5 or 6 hours, well, do it over a couple of days, enjoy it, take your time, because you get this piece, they go on the sides, don't have to, you could use them separately, because you also get this piece, which is cute. It's like a tiny little watchtower, it's cute, and you can place that wherever you want again. And then the main thing is the gatehouse. Now you might see on here that I don't have any texture on the back of these doors. Again, that's because you won't see them where it's going, and I didn't want to faff about. Here's the gatehouse. This is a substantial piece. Again, very solid. Some holes in the bottom, so I could put lights in, and I probably will at some point. It's an amazing structure. And the best part, the part that everyone loves, the portcullis works. You can slide it up and down. This is amazing. I love it. I am really, really impressed with this. Took me a fair amount of time to put together, but wasn't that hard. All of the instructions for this set are really straightforward. It's great. I'm very, very impressed. So you make the structure on the side, you put these bits together separately, and then it all just kind of it slides together and clicks into place. Well, I say clicks, it kind of slides and clunks into place, and then it glues, and it becomes a solid structure. This thing, I can shake it around, nothing's coming apart. Again, you get the multiple layers on the windows. That's an option. I didn't put it in on the other side because I've got a door instead. So, bit of change on my structure. It looks really cool. I've just got it. It looks really cool. It was fun to put together, and it's a substantial piece. You could use this for all sorts. I mean, like I say, these things go on the sides. They are left and right-handed. The outer part with the triangle sits just under the window frame, and there you are. Very nice, very substantial. So you can change them out. I mean, I could, if I wanted it to go straight round a corner. There we go, straight round the corner. It's fine, because I've got the walls. Works really nicely, very cool. I'm really impressed with this. This is supposed to go on the top. Wherever you want, basically wherever you want in this. I kind of fancy putting it there, but it doesn't seem, Jen didn't think it was right. Put it to one side, that kind of thing. Looks great, I'm really impressed. Also, since it's here, and essentially more of the city wall style stuff, but this time it's two pieces together with a little bracing on the middle bit. I was surprised this came together so well, especially since these parts here have to be curved. They don't come curved, they come straight. And I'm amazed that it went together so well. These sets have been thought out so incredibly well that I'm actually shocked that it came together, because I'm not the best kit maker in the world by a long shot. I stopped making kits when I was about 14 and only took it back up during the COVID lockdown. So you can imagine that I am very much an intermediate, or even kind of slightly past beginner. But it went really well. The final piece is this. It's the main castle piece that everyone loves. Look at that. Multiple hours this. Even more than the gatehouse was this. The castle hall. It's the thickest, well, probably comparable actually to the gatehouse, maybe a little bit thicker. It's multiple stages. This and the gatehouse and things like that, you're probably expecting about 20 quid for it if you want to buy it. The other stuff's between 10 and 15 really. So I've picked up the wrong bit. The gatehouse comes in multiple blocks. Now we're going to have a look on the bottom because it'll show you all the pieces. You build the structure, and then you build the structure, then you build the structure, and the final piece of structure. And then you stick them all together. You don't have to. Every single part's textured. I kid you not. You could have parts of these and have like a ruined piece of castle if you wanted. They're all textured, and then they come together like that. And it's so well done. So, a little bit on the top as well, that's an extra piece that you put on. And it all just comes together incredibly. And then there's the little bit on the back, which just hangs over. It's so well done. And I was, again, surprised because substantial piece of kit. And it comes together so well. I wasn't sure. This is the second one I built. First of all, I did the watchtower to see how well it will come together, because I thought we'll start with an easy one to make sure the instructions are all decently done and how they do things. Couldn't be more happy with the instructions, by the way. Really straightforward. Everything's laid out with diagrams and clear explanations. It's great. So I thought, all right, well, we've done that. Let's try for the hard one, this. And it says, right, put this bit together, blump, blump, blump. And put that one to one side. And then do this bit, blump, blump, blump. And you could take it day after day. An hour here, an hour there, and build up. And you'd have little bits to show for what you'd done. And then you put it back all together on the final day. And it just looks so good. I am super impressed. That's it, basically. All of it. Now, what am I going to do with all of this? Because these are substantial structures. If you're putting these onto a diorama or a model railway layout or anything like that, please bear in mind that these things are huge. I'm going to bring in, for scale, the model Deltic that I made. Here's the Deltic. Here's the gatehouse. These things dominate any diorama, any layout that you put them on. It's a big thing. I put them all out on my dining table, and it took up a substantial part of that. And it's a 6-person dining table. So don't expect this to be a small thing that you can just stick in a corner. It's not. It's really not. This is the 00 version. So it's a substantial thing already for Double O, but these things dominate a layout. So what do we do with them? Well, I've seen a lot of people putting them in a corner with only like the gatehouse, the watchtower, the castle hall, something like that. Just a piece of the castle, and then maybe a wall here or there as what's left of a castle. That's a good way of doing it. If you want to go for the full thing, though, expect to use up a fair amount of any space you've got available. That's the thing. These are big, they're really good, and value for money. I mean, 20 quid for a substantial thing like that. You get a couple of nights, maybe even 3 or 4 nights if you take your time, of pleasure out of building the model. Let's face it, they are fun to build. I enjoyed it. And then you've got a substantial piece of kit to put onto your layout. So for value for money, it's great, but they take up a lot of space. So what I'm going to do is, over the winter, Jen and I are going to build a Christmas diorama that we can put the castle around. So we'll have our Christmas tree in the middle, a little fibre optic one, build the castle round it, build up the diorama, and then put some snow on, things like that, and make it nice. That's what we're going to do. What you could do on a layout, like I say, a lot of people are using parts of these kits, not the entire range of kits. Can't blame anyone for that. You get the benefit of having the castle there, and they do look good. They're a focal point. They really are, and it's great for that. But I can't see many people using the whole thing, unless you've got a lot of space. So that's how I would see it. Choose the bits that look great that you think you could put into your model. Unless you've got a lot of space that you can put just on scenery and nothing else, then I wouldn't go for the full thing. Perhaps the impression of it might be the better way to go. Like, do the gatehouse, and then a few walls that go into a corner, and then the rest of the castle is off, drawn onto your background or something like that, onto your background scene. That might be a way to go. Or have the country house, which is built from the main castle hall, in your corner, or in the middle of your thing, and then the train goes past, that kind of thing. That's how I would do it. Don't go for the full thing unless you've got the space to do it, and you know that you're not going to want that for something else. But that's how I see it. What would you say? How would you use it? I'd love to know. Leave a comment, and we can all learn from everyone's different ways of approaching things. But I hope you have enjoyed this, because I'm going to say these all get my thumbs up. Absolute thumbs up, 5 out of 5. They're great kits. They're a pleasure to make. They're substantial. Even the little bits of wall, these are substantial pieces of great kit. I love every single part of this because it was fun to build. They look amazing. And value for money, I mean, 20 quid for putting that together. Can't beat that. But until next time, I think that's all we've got for you. Jenny will be back on Monday, and with more of her regular programming on Wednesdays and Fridays. But until next time, from me, I've been Zoe Kirk Robinson. You've been watching Monkey Builds here on the Jenny Kirk channel. Please do remember to like, subscribe, and do leave a comment to tell me how you would use these kits yourself, and whether you agree with what I've said. And for now, take care, happy modelling, see you later.
Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. Additional support comes from Rails of Sheffield. Sell to the name you know and trust. Family-run business purchasing collections for over 50 years. From single items to lifetime collections, no collection is too small or too big. Buy, sell or exchange, any age or any gauge. Rails will take everything: locos, coaches, wagons, track work, controllers, accessories. In fact, they'll take absolutely everything, and certainly will not cherry pick the best items. Rails are only a phone call away. Call them now for the very best price and get instant cash payment or same-day transfer. Check them out today at the link below. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N. from NC, NYMR-ish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, Alan Dickerson, Eddie Papere, Karen Nichol, Medwin Williams, Crossways Point Junction, 3B Rail, Jennifer Horton, and James Beckett. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.